Hello and welcome to the Wednesday check-in brought to you by David Gockstein. I am your host, Landy, and today is August 19th, 2026, and we are looking at Bitcoin here on the daily. And as you can see, we have moved from compression into expansion. And much as I had mentioned many times over the previous month and a half or so, realistically, since the lows came in and Bitcoin began its consolidation, especially on closes, between 62.5 and $65,000, that we would likely see the compression resolve sooner rather than later, sometime in the back half of August, and we have now seen this occur. So on the closes above $65,000 and especially above the swing highs at 65.5 to 65.7, what was I looking for? I was looking for a retest of not just the highs, but obvious candidates 67 to 67.3 on its way to go test 68 to $70,000. And wouldn't you know it, we have a candle here that did touch $70,000. Now, granted, $70,036.66 here, but we have tested one of the major areas that I was looking for overhead at 60 to 70. And, the $67,000 region I mentioned, which were deviations of, a tighter range, especially with the last move up off of the lows, the consolidation kind of messing around in the 61 and kind of coming up into the 62.5 to 65 area. We had the deviation to 67, realistically just testing the highs up here and then kind of just going into a sideways consolidation, right? Between 62.5 and 65 on closes here. It was really about either breaking down below the lows and then, of course, passing the swing lows, or breaking above the more recent highs, and then, of course, the larger deviations of the tighter range that we had for the Bollinger Band set to go test 68 to 70. That's what we've been looking for. We now have that fulfilled. Let's go ahead and turn on the zones of interest for our levels here on the chart that you have seen so much of for a very long time here. And that is, okay, well, we've gotten our close above the upper second, above the highs. We've fulfilled hitting the targets 68 to 69. I talked about 70,000 to 70,500. We got 70,000, and the weekly is directly at 70,500, right? Anywhere above there, we can start to look to the top side around 72 to 72.2. And I've mentioned this every single time, right? 68 to 70 has been the play. Yes, there is interest in and around the $68 to $69,000 area, but it's really $2,000 at a time up here, 68 to 70. And then it's, 70,000 to 70,500 is the bottom side resistance area of interest. We have now hit that. A little bit further up would be a swing into the actual weekly structure itself at 70,500 to 72.2. or 72 to 72.2 on the top side. This is the next major area of interest. Then take it $2,000 at a time. If we start to see swings and closes above 72 to 72.2, it's all about 74 and 74 to 76, right? So essentially 70 to 72, 72 to 74, 74 to 76. And yes, there is a $75,000 area of interest in there as well. So that is the name of the game to the upside. If we did really start to see price push on to the upside through some of those levels and continued, it's not going to be a straight shot. Nice expansion. We'll see where the close actually comes in about 8 minutes, but realistically, it's not going to go necessarily in a straight line. Not that it can't get pretty violent, but anywhere above $6,000, again, $2,000 at a time to 78,000, 78 to 80, and then above there, hey, we remember this area. This was the monthly higher low close retest at 82.5, where we had the swing above it just slightly and then close below it here on the daily right there at 82.8. Of course, that is also a monthly lower high. Would be interesting to see if Bitcoin eventually makes its way up there and gets a trend break, because if it did, especially on a monthly close, well, you're going to see a lot of opinions change, including my own. Doesn't mean Bitcoin's out of the woods. It would just be a trend break. You need higher low or equal low structure in order to confirm a trend reversal setup, but that would be interesting. As it stands right now, just initial targets to the upside are hit. 68 to 70, great. Next is 70 to 72, 72 to 74, 74 to 76. Now, to the downside, for continuation of expansion, we want to see Bitcoin closing candles above these highs, right? Can it come down into and dig into, the 66.5 region to the highs around 67 to 67.3? Yes. But realistically, you want to see it probably hanging above around that $67,000 by the upper second standard deviation here for continuation of expansion. And then especially closes above around 69, probably going to be playing back around this high towards that 70,500 and into the zone around that $70,000 to $72,000 to the upside here. If we did start to see it below the upper second here, it's all about 65 to 65.5. All of this area below these two highs here, and see this area as support or tested as support. If it starts to dig into it, giving all that back would not be a good look for the bulls. Let's put it that way. So that's pretty much the criteria. It is a Wednesday check-in, so we'll keep it right there. Keep it nice and short and sweet. Let's go ahead and take a look at oil markets. Now, I mentioned oil markets, beware of the higher low to higher high trend reversal setup. We now have seen that completed, of course. We talked a little bit about this on Monday. And we see that oil, WTI in this case, has been holding this $84 level. If it does break down, just watch that low. It's the swing low, really, at 80 bucks. Anywhere below there, we're looking right back to around 77 to 80. And if it drops that, then we're looking towards the next low in and around 74 to 76 or so. If we do get continuation above the $85, $86, it's $85.85, but let's call it 86 bucks. We're on our way to go test, slightly higher towards 87, but it's really all about 88 to 90. Anywhere above there, that opens up the 90 to 95 zone. And of course, continuation would be 98 on the bottom side of the next zone to about 102.5, with $100 being the split the difference area in that zone. Let's go ahead and take a look at traditional markets. And boy, oh boy, did we talk about this on Monday and last week, to be fair. But on Monday, I really gave you my thoughts on what you would want to see. And we did get a little bounce on Dow, right? Came right down, tested the top by the basis band. And, there is a lower high in here, lower low structure, gap fill. What you would want to see is the upper first, where this swing high is coming in at 54,050 bucks here is, or points or whatever you want to call it. But realistically, talking about money here in the index, and 54,050 is what you need to see closed above. Then next swing to take out would be 54,222. And then the highs are fair game, up to around the 54.9 to 55K. Fair game. But if we do see this area break down, next big area to pay attention to, meaning the area that Bitcoin. This is Dow, not Bitcoin. If Dow breaks down below the basis, that's going to start to paint the picture that we're looking down towards 52.5 and potentially more down to that lower first, but this will move up on the next open to around 52.5. Anywhere below there, the lows are back in play by the lower second, around 51.5. Realistically, you would not want to see that. It would look pretty bad, especially for, changing trend around and trying to trend back up. It would look very bad unless it just kind of hung out and consolidated. For right now, this is the perfect bounce area that you want to see hold up for Dow. NASDAQ did head back down. It did gap down and lose the area. It did get a low in at 29,286. A little bit more, kind of filling this gap here that was kind of already well filled anyway. But it's more about this gap to this smaller gap that was just filled. But watch the 29.2 to 29K. To the downside, if it drops it, probably looking 28.5 pretty quickly down here, potentially even 28.2 to 28K down here. Back above 29,850 to 29.9 by the upper first, we could start looking back to 30 and 30,200. Anywhere above there, upper second is going to bring the highs back into play for possibly a new all-time high, 30,750 and above towards 31. And then I'd be looking at, 31.5 price replace band over time if it did start to initiate closes above there. We need to see close over close price structure above there, though. For SPY, 769, nice. Came right down to our line, nice. And in this case, any drop of this area on a closing right on it and then popping up. But if it drops right around the 767, looking back to around 760 to 755. Anywhere below there, lower first is starting to come in line with the 745 region, 5 points at a time per close is what I would take. Anywhere above 779, 780, that's going to open up 785, 5 points at a time, up to the upper second around 790 to 791. This is going to move up to around 792 to 793 on the next open, so be aware of that for the Thursday session. That's it. We have now initiated expansion. We're entering a higher volatility environment for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on and so forth. And it's really all about the continuation above around this 68 to 70 area where the upper third currently is. We are going to see the close come in here in about 50 seconds, but I'm going to end it before then. Look, it's going to close probably right above a daily level around 69 to 69.2, which is prior all-time high area, daily area of interest, weekly area of interest as well. And this area is important, but it's about taking out that 70,000 to 70,500 bottom side. I've been talking about this for so long, since Bitcoin dropped it, right? After it found support over here at 70,500, dropped it again, right? And we've seen this area before. This is also going to be a big area based on the daily, as well as historical areas of interest. So 70,500 to 72 to 72.2. That's going to be the next area for Bitcoin to reclaim. And then we can start looking up to 74 to possibly 76 is the next big area. And realistically, if it does come back down for a more immediate continuation to try and test up further, being the current high and higher, I would, that was a wild open and dump off. That seems like maybe a data issue. Yeah, because there's no wick there. Okay, so you're actually looking more towards 68 for continuation, but it can come down to 66.2. Top side of this structure, this close open is in line with the upper first for kind of continuation of an expansion. So I am actually going to mark this out, seeing as we did. I talked long enough. Where this is now an area to pay attention to is the upper first. That is the close. That's probably the lowest that you'd want to see it go. Continuation of expansion is going to be holding 68, of more aggressive expansion, continuation of regular expansion. And to continue getting expansion, you'd want to see it closing above, at minimum, around 66.3, right? This close open. I would say probably 67 to 67.3 is what you'd want to see for a safer choice. But more immediate continuation of expansion now, above 68, right? Closing above the 69.3 level. Go run 70 to 70,500 and potentially into that 72 to 72.2. That'd be nice to see. We might even see more. That's all I got for you today. I am going to have a live stream on Friday and a special guest that I'm going to put out a promo for tomorrow, so everybody knows who the special guest is going to be. Make sure you're following them, all that good stuff. The live stream on Friday is going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I look forward to you all being there. Please like and share this video if you did find it helpful. It does help me. It helps the algo and all that stuff. Go ahead and comment if there's stuff that you want me to start looking at. I am going to start opening this up a little bit more to look at more things, whether it be crypto or stocks individually. that is going to occur. It's not going to occur right away, but I want to see what it is that you're looking at, so that I can start incorporating it into future shows, and the shows will be expanding a bit. There's going to be some new exciting stuff happening, so I look forward to that. I look forward to talking to you all in the comments and group chats and spaces events as well. And then I also look forward to you coming through to the breakdown, where David's show starts at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I usually head in there at around 12:15 Eastern, 9:15 Pacific. And hang with David, talk a little bit about markets. Sometimes we joke around, sometimes it's politics, but I hope to see you there. And then, of course, on Wolf Bitcoin Spaces and ATC as well. Look forward to seeing and talking to you there. So, with that said, I'll see you on Friday for one of these videos, live stream format, where you can talk to me in the chat. And I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, and evening, no matter where you are in the world. Please trade safe. And, of course, as always, stay safe. With all of that being said, Landy out. Take care.